The most costly mistake that startup and emerging franchisors make, and this is a mistake that can live with you for many years and cost many dollars, is that you don't take the time to develop a compelling franchise brand story. You can't answer why your franchise right now is the best opportunity for your perfect fit franchisees. And the result is your website, your sales materials, your media, your paid ads. They're not telling a compelling story, and chances are they sound like every other franchise system. In this video, we're going to discuss how you could avoid this mistake, how you could build a compelling franchise brand story, and deploy it on your website. It's almost as if a franchise sales website and franchise sales materials are some afterthought. If you look at most websites in the franchise industry, no matter the industry, they almost all sound the same. They're promoting training and they're promoting support, and some websites even have information about the estimated initial investment, but they're missing the mark. They're not telling a compelling story. As a franchisor, the most important thing that you need to answer is why you, why now? And that is why, for the perfect franchisee, for your perfect fit franchisee, why right now is the most important time and the best opportunity to buy your franchise, and why your franchise is the best opportunity for them. So that's your why you, why now story. It's all integrated with your brand story. And we see this so often on websites. So many franchisors miss the mark. Then they hire an outside vendor. They start engaging in pay-per-click ads or digital ads, or they join a broker network. But for some reason, you don't seem to gain any traction. Or if you do gain traction, it seems very difficult and very expensive. And the reason is you don't have your ground game covered. You don't have your compelling brand story, and you don't have a real differentiator for your brand. So we're going to put together a framework today that you should be following. And it's three parts. You need to focus on your purpose. You need to focus on the opportunity you provide and the transformation that your franchisees experience. If you focus on those 3 points, you'll be on your way to developing a compelling brand story, putting together a really good website, and answering the why us, why now questions. So let's just start with some background, your brand story. Why you, why now? From a general standpoint, we need to be genuine, right? There is a compelling story behind your brand, whether it was your original founder, whether it's your current leadership team today. There's a story and passion as to why you're opening up your doors, how you service your customers, the value you provide to your customers, and how you improve the lives of your franchisees. So there's a genuine brand story there. And it's a combination of many things, right? Leadership vision, values of your organization, the mission of your brand, the products and services that you sell and why they may be better than your competitors, the value you offer, your wins, which could be franchisee validation, leadership team, losses, opportunity, and really why you exist. And these are all dots that need to be connected in building your brand story and developing a compelling website. I mean, just too often they're general. It's like a headline of own your own blank business. So the problem is most brands jump to spending money, digital ads, digital media, franchise broker relationships, but there's nothing compelling there. And the reason is many times franchisors are relying on outside vendors. It's difficult to do a deep dive into a brand, and everyone wants results, and you want to see leads, and people start spending dollars and they're running ads and you're getting leads, and maybe they're not converting, or you're not getting the ROI on your dollar spend. And the reality is you need to magnetize your brand. You need to build your brand story. So let's dive into this. So here's our framework. One is when you're developing your brand story, you're compelling why you, why now. You're answering the ultimate question for your franchisee candidate, why your franchise is the best opportunity right now for that franchisee. So initially, start focusing on your purpose. There's 3 parts. They're all going to come together. So the purpose is why your brand exists, the purpose that your organization is serving. So at the consumer level, what's the value you provide to your customers? At the franchisee level, What's the value you provide to your franchisees? And I'm going to give you a hint here. That value needs to be more than initial training, ongoing support, and the fact that you're going to collect royalties from them. Also, what's your brand mission on a consumer level and on a franchisee level? What's the mission of your brand? If you're serving coffee, is it to serve the best cup of coffee on the planet? Or maybe it's to make your customers' lives enjoyable every morning with great service. But what is that brand mission on the consumer end? And what's the brand mission for your franchisees? Remember, in many ways, your franchisees are also your customers. So, right now, consider your purpose of your brand. Write down what is the vision of your leadership team? What are the core values of your organization? At the consumer level, what are the problems you solve for your customers? At the franchisee level, what are the problems you solve for your franchisees? And then overall, what's the mission of your brand? Take some time, write some answers to those questions, and call this section purpose. So that's your purpose section. Consider those questions, spend some time with your team, and dive into and answer those questions. Now, in the opportunity block of building your brand story, what's going to become important are the opportunities you're offering your franchisees. So, what is unique, or what are core elements about your franchise model? Maybe that is your item 7 startup costs. Maybe it's your item 19 financial performance representations. Maybe it's a combination of both, right? What is the potential ROI that your item 19 is demonstrating relative to your item 7 estimated startup costs? So, on the opportunity section, what are the opportunities that your franchise model, your franchise system offers that other franchisors don't? And when you're answering that, or you're considering answers to that question, evaluate your startup costs in item 7, evaluate income potential in item 19, evaluate what your franchisee validation looks like. So if you do have franchisees, how strong is that validation? And you need to make that validation a part of your opportunity. What are the advantages of your system? Again, we all assume, every franchisee candidate is assuming, you're going to provide them with initial training. You're going to provide them with ongoing support. Everyone says this. And when franchisee candidates see it, they see it on every website. It's not unique. Now, it's important, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but what I would recommend is provide detail. Instead of going wider, go deeper. So if your initial training is unique, explain what's unique about your initial training. Provide detail about that initial training. Explain to franchisees what they'll experience in the initial training. If you have validating franchisees, have videos where they're discussing what the initial training process was like. So consider, your competition is saying, we provide initial training. You're saying, here's our elite training program. Here's our steps to this process. Here's what the experience is like in our franchisee videos. Again, so you're not reinventing the wheel, but you're providing depth. And then finally, what are the advantages to your franchise system? What's the advantage over your competitors? Do you have better supply chain, which leads to better ROI? Is your brand better? Are there better selling features, more support, or a better pre-opening marketing program? These could all be compelling advantages, but they can't fall under the generic banner of marketing support. You need to provide the detail, right? Again, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You need to go deeper and provide some depth, and you need to demonstrate to your franchisee candidates. So the first block was purpose. What's the purpose of your brand, leadership vision, core values, brand mission, problems you solve for customers, problems you solve for franchisees. Second block is opportunity. What is the opportunity your franchise provides? And for that, we need to consider, what are your item 7 estimated startup costs? What is the income potential reflected in item 19? What does franchisee validation look like? And now let's not reinvent the wheel, but provide much more depth than your competitors are providing. If we have advantages with initial training, ongoing support, initial marketing, that's not enough. We need to dive 3 or 4 levels deeper to show franchisees the advantages we're offering, how we do it, and what it's going to feel like to become a franchisee in our system, which leads us to the next section. Call this transformation. This is the most important part. And in transformation, you need to focus on your franchisee's experience. So when a franchisee signs on board, basically trust your franchise system and your team with his or her future and her time. What's the transformation that he or she could experience? So he goes from corporate executive or an individual with a poor work-life balance or an individual with limited income potential to a thriving franchisee that what? A, work-life balance, B, what type of income potential, business building, multi-unit opportunities. You need to focus on your franchisee transformation. If you don't have franchisees, well, then consider what was the transformation your original founder experienced when he or she first opened up the business? She went from blank to blank, right? You need to answer that question. And if you have successful franchisees, what's their transformation? How have their lives been transformed by becoming a franchisee in your system? So you need to write that down. You need to reflect on that transformation. All three of these components need to come together. Your purpose, your opportunity, your transformation, they form your brand story, and they're going to help you answer. They'll be the guidepost for answering why you, why now. So for a good fit franchisee candidate or a franchise broker, to them, why is your brand or why should your brand be viewed as the best franchise opportunity right now? And you need to be that forceful. You need to answer that question. Everyone tiptoes around it. Now, when you think about your website, you have typical website structure, right? If we were wireframing the website, you're going to have that initial mast, your banner. You should have a contact form on the right side. If they want to contact, they'll fill in a form. Better yet, they fill in the form to download an opportunity guide. On the left side is going to be your headline and your subheadline. Now, that headline should not be focused on you. It should be focused on your franchisee transformation, right? So that headline should be focused on what your franchisee will experience, whether it's building a whatever type business or build a thriving blank business. And then the subheadline, which then qualifies that. For example, maybe your item 19 data, maybe it's a system with certain year-over-year sales growth, maybe it's a low startup cost and good ROI, maybe it's a lifestyle element. Okay. So focus on that headline. Your headline should be focused on transformation. You should have a contact form where you're not asking franchisees to call you right away. They want to go through a process. Best practices, they should be downloading a guide. There should be videos on the website. Well, a couple of videos. One, your brand videos where your leadership team is talking about your brand values, your vision, and your franchise system. And if you have franchisees, well, you need those franchisee validation videos. Also on that first page, that franchise sales page, you need three unique elements, right? Your three uniques or your unique selling proposition, three reasons why your franchise is a compelling opportunity right now. And again, what we see so many times is training, support, and some other generic things. Be very specific. Is it about unit economics? Is it about opportunity? Now, don't just give general statistics on industry. Again, we don't want to go wide. We want to go deep. Franchisees need to know the detail. They need to know what they'll experience when they sign on to your franchise system. And we're going to discuss this more. In fact, if you're a part of our FranX community, we have a number of master classes. We'll be discussing this in more detail. So for right now, building your brand story, you need to do it, or else you're going to be making a mistake that so many other startup and emerging franchisors make. Focus on your purpose, focus on your opportunity, focus on the transformation, put them all together into your brand story and deploy them onto your website.